You're watching Let's Chat.
Coming up at the end of the month, it's a very special display going on right downtown at the Medal of Honor Heritage Center and Museum. Vince Butler is here to talk a little bit more about that. Vince,
good
to see you.
Thank you for having me.
This exhibit has been a long time in the works and an even longer time in justifying that ends. And this exhibit salutes our friend, the late and great Captain Larry Taylor.
Yes.
Why is this exhibit so special?
Well, it's special because he's a Chattanoogan. He's one of us, and born and raised here. Went to City High and graduated. Went to UT Knoxville. Went into ROTC and graduated. Immediately didn't get drafted and enlisted day one. Went out and served in Vietnam, and actually was one of the first Cobra helicopter pilots in Vietnam. And on June 18th, 1968, did something extraordinary. And Larry is no different than you and me. He's an ordinary person. But when a task happened, or he was presented with an opportunity, his commanding colonel ordered him back to base, saying, "Don't go rescue those guys. They're surrounded. They're trained to escape." It was 3 o'clock in the morning in a fierce firefight. They're running out of ammunition. They're completely surrounded. And Larry flying the attack helicopter was their last resort for help. And there's a motto he had, is never leave a man behind. He defied the order and did something with a Cobra helicopter pilot, or a helicopter that has never done before. And if you know anything about the Cobras, it's literally 24 inches
They're
wide.
Narrow, yeah.
There's no place for the people to climb into to fly out. So he's out of ammunition, he's out of rockets, basically lands his Cobra and helicopter in the middle of a firefight. The 4 Rangers, or what we called long-range reconnaissance patrol back then, jumped on the skids and the rocket pods. In the middle of a firefight, he lifts that helicopter up with the 4 soldiers and rescued them. If not for his courage and commitment, and
they'd be dead.
They wouldn't be here today, and their children and grandchildren wouldn't be here today.
I got to tell you, I had the opportunity to interview Captain Taylor 2 or 3 times before the announcement came out that he was going to finally get the Medal of Honor. What do you think went through his mind when he got that call?
I always remember the story when I talked to Larry that night after he got the call, and he was actually asleep in his chair when he got the call. And I remember Tony answering the phone, and they're saying, "Please hold for the president." And Tony's like, and he says, is Captain Taylor there? He goes, "Yes." "Well, who is this?" He goes, "Well, this is the president." And Tony goes, "Hey, Larry, the president's on the phone." He goes, "President who?" "President of what?" And he goes, "The President of the United States." And that's when Larry was very surprised to get the call. It was a culmination of a lot of efforts of a lot of veterans who came behind the museum, and everybody working together, local and national elected leaders, to make that possible, because it was...
I hate it took 30-something years for him to get that medal. But I am certainly glad he finally got that honor that he so richly deserved. And it was one of the highlights of my career. I mean, one of the absolute highlights of my career when he asked me to MC the homecoming parade we had for him. September 11th of 2023. The streets of downtown Chattanooga were packed, as you might have seen from that video clip a moment ago. And I'll tell you, there wasn't a dry eye up on that podium.
And what a lot of people didn't realize, Larry was battling cancer. Had just had a cancer treatment a few days prior to that. And he stood there, and it was very hot that day. If you remember, it was very hot and very muggy. But he stood on that stage and saluted every JROTC, marching band, participant in that parade for 4 hours, and then turned around and did a press conference, and then went out and met with students afterwards. For somebody that's been battling cancer, who was not in the best of health at the time, it was impressive to watch. It really was.
When Vince says these Cobra helicopters are 24 inches wide, he's not kidding. I stood at the base of that copter that was there that day. Reached in through the window, and I could touch the other side. Anyway, this exhibit fires up on March 29th, correct?
Yes, that's correct. That's correct.
You're going to have a big rollout for this.
We do. We actually, Saturday, March 29th, we're going to officially unveil the exhibit for for the public. It's going to start off with a Bricks of Honor dedication ceremony, which actually starts at 11 o'clock, and then we're going to cut the ribbon and unveil the exhibit at 1 o'clock. I do encourage people, it's going to be a crazy day, crazy weekend. A lot of people want to see this, so you do have to get a ticket. We are doing time tickets to help us manage the crowd. We expect to have several, if not over 1,000 people here this weekend.
So. I hope you have more than that.
Now
it's coming up March 29th, and I tell you without doubt and without hesitation, Captain Larry Taylor was one hell of a man.
It was.
Get out and show your support for the great work Vince and his team are doing, and for what Captain Larry Taylor and folks like him did. Vince,
thank you, sir.
We'll talk
Appreciate
soon.
it.
Thank you very much.
Have a good day.
We're back with more of Let's Chat after this.